Okay, I think we're live. Welcome back to Crunch Time, the show where you get the best NBA DFS picks for the day, each and every day, 2.5 hours before the main slate. You get a nice overview as well, around 1 hour. You get your questions asked, roster construction stuff, optimizer stuff, DFS crunch stuff, NBA stuff, lots of stuff. Today we have a nice 8-game slate. I believe some games were canceled. I think it's still 8 games. I guess Chris will confirm. And yeah, joined as always with Chris, aka chrissair DFS. How are you today?
I'm doing well. So we had the Dallas New Orleans game get postponed. I'd probably say it's the last day of NBA for a week or two. Probably gets put on hold for a bit, just to manage the COVID stuff. But yeah, I'd rather have it now than later, just because we still have stuff like NFL going. We'll have MMA soon, college football, college basketball. So yeah, I'd rather have it get postponed now than later. But yeah, we'll navigate through this slate. We got a bunch of news. Philly is still shorthanded. We'll just talk about it as we go on throughout the show.
It's kind of rough if they put it on hiatus, but I guess you're right. Quickly in the chat, Peter saying shout out to Draymond Green. Did he do well yesterday?
Yeah, he put up 10 points, 10 rebounds. 10 points, 10 assists, and then 9 rebounds. So 1 rebound short of the triple-double, but still he put up 35 on Fanduel for me.
Is that the old Draymond Green?
Yeah, it was nice. He was hitting his shots, so it's always nice to see Draymond doing well.
Yeah. Before we start, if you haven't already, be sure to like the video. That helps us out a lot, especially if you've been here before and you like the content. Be sure to do that. Also, if you aren't subscribed, hit subscribe, hit bell button, hit all, so you stay notified. You'll get emails, and I think on YouTube you'll see it first, on your homepage when you go there. So be sure to do that so you can stay up to date with all of our content. One other housekeeping throughout the show, the tool that we use, projections we use, optimizer that we use, all the stuff we use is at dfscrunch.com. We have a 3-day free trial, so if you want to try it out, what you're seeing in the show, kind of use it along as we go through it, you're more than welcome to try it out. 3 days free trial, 25 a week, 75 a month, no risk at all, no risk trial, it says right here. Other than that, other housekeeping, I think we have...
Just before you go to this, I want to say, instead of just randomly saying subscribe, just to subscribe, we do these shows every day. We provide really good overviews of the slate. We build out teams, some really sharp core plays, stuff that I use in my cash games. I play medium to high stakes, so it's not just coming from someone who's just talking out of their ass. So yeah, it's a good place. Definitely sharp content here, sharp projections on our site. So if you do want to subscribe, it'll definitely help you out with your DFS game contests.
Yeah, not just YouTube, but also dfscrunch.com. Both those things will help. This is our free content here. That's every day. So yeah.
Yeah, if you can't afford it, obviously you're not at fault for that, but the YouTube content is probably more than enough for beginner, intermediate players, because we go over the whole slate. The only thing that you don't really get is projections that lead up to lock. That's super valuable in NBA, but the stuff that we talk about on the show is completely where we're at right now. And then as news comes later on in the day, we obviously go over it in the Discord, in our private Discord, the community Discord. So yeah, but it's a really good starting point here right now on the show, just as we go through the games.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when I first started playing DFS, I just consumed YouTube content, live stream content, so that always helps out. Definitely good. In the chat, he and Steph on Redemption Tour from Hasty. Gostafi saying, show my lineup. Do you see a lineup posted in the Discord, Chris?
Yeah, so Ghostify, he's not a subscriber with us, but he's always in the YouTube chat, so that's awesome. He used our core. I believe he had a bunch of players that we talked about. He sent me his winnings. I could send that to you. We could get it up on the screen. But yeah, it's nice to see people turning this YouTube content into success as well.
Yeah, send it. I'll load it up. That'd be nice. What else? Other chat here. Best tool in the game. Thanks, boys, from Hasty. Way off topic, but Duke and Michigan State are not projected to make the tournament for the first time in my lifetime. Is that true, Chris?
I have no idea. Not really a big college guy. If he's saying it, it's obviously true. So there's that. What's up, Charlie? He says, "What's up?" If you guys have any questions, as always, we answer them throughout the show. So don't be scared to ask them. We don't bite. So yeah.
Okay. More housekeeping before we jump into the slate. We've got our nightly tweet. Crunchers continue to dominate as always, as expected. Part-time DFS, full-time results. So definitely good to see. And I say part-time because you don't want to be like reading up articles like 10 hours a day leading up to slate. All you need to do is just watch our show. And if you have our tool, it's even easier. So part-time DFS, full-time results. So this is obviously from Chris, mid to high stakes, as he says. What do you make of your construction here last night, Chris?
I'm just sending you a few more screenshots that we can go over. But yeah, this first team is obviously my main team. Yeah, so there was like a 4v4 that was really my main question in the slate. It was like Patty Mills, Malik Beasley, Keldon Johnson, and Siakam versus Curry, Lonnie Walker, Rudy Gay, and Draymond Green. I obviously went with this Curry side. Curry's absolutely sucked yesterday. Like, he put up 25 points. He couldn't find the bottom of the rim to save his life. So you do hate to see that, but I got there anyways. Big game from Lonnie for me. That was pretty big. Draymond, obviously, a near triple-double. So yeah, just solid construction here. I really liked my team. So yeah, that's that. All-day slate, same team. Faded the early games just to wait for the news, and then landed on the same team, of course. And then this NFL is it's like clockwork. You plug the team in, you win. That's all I gotta say.
Well, you have to follow compliance, though. It's not that simple. I mean, you gotta be compliant with Draftkings, so you gotta make one change to the player pool. But yeah, pretty straightforward stuff there. About Curry, I mean, he was up against the Nurse, Nick Nurse. He's a good coach. Put the clamps on him.
I mean, Freddie always puts the clamps on him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So this is Ghostify's lineup here.
1 sec, I'll just load up all the ones you sent quickly. As I do that, do you want to say anything good about Nick Nurse?
No, I just want to talk about these lineups instead. Don't really have too much time to waste here on this slate.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is Ghostify's lineup. Obviously, he didn't use the tool, but he had some of the plays that we talked about here. He got a really low-owned THT 35 burger. Katie, obviously, he was a lock. Beasley, I mentioned him a lot. Murray, he was a lock. Ed Davis, he got Ed Davis. Didn't really love him in this spot, but he got him there. D'Lo, we mentioned him in tournaments. That's a good play. Keldon, not great. He didn't perform too well, but he got some steals and blocks that sort of salvaged his performance. And then LMA, he was obviously big on our projections.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Ghostify. Shout out to Ghostify.
Yep. Okay, next up we have this. Before we do that, as always, I guess I'll ask this. Let us know what you guys are having today, what you're drinking. I'm always having the G0. Chris, I think, is having the Brita filter. Hasty, if I had to guess, is with the Vitamix again. And Thomas, if he's here, might not be here after all that soju he's having. But yeah, let us know what you're drinking. Yeah, what do you think of this one, Chris, here? Aiden, every single slate. I think you touched upon this last time. He's like clockwork with his entry fees. Never deviates past that like 25, 50 mark. It's kind of nice. Consistency is good. Well, yeah, what do you make of this?
Yeah, so like I said yesterday, you'll never see Aiden play more than a round number. Not a round number, but just like a number that I don't know, like a solid normal number, like $25. You'll never see him play 23. You'll never see him play 27. Never gonna see him play 51, anything like that.
He doesn't carry change. He just has like cash, no coins.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like it's pretty funny, honestly. It's like always 50 or 25. But yeah, he always posts a list with all the results just because he plays every slate, so that's nice to see. Yeah.
Next up, we have this one. It's kind of
this is Kicks. He's been
quality.
with us for a while. That's pretty cool. It's blurry, but I mean that's the best I can do for you. But yeah, he said he cashed all his contests. You'd love to hear that. So yeah, that's all you gotta say
I
here.
think I can make it out. It's like 31 something to 57, 24 to 77, and 3. I can't 10 to 27. So it's good to see. Next up, we have Thomas. I believe it says 55 to 99. He's he's one of our new guys here. He's been around for a while. We know him.
Yeah, Thomas doesn't quite know how to crop screenshots on his phone. I mean, that's not a problem. He'll probably get there once he starts. Maybe once he gets an iPhone or something. He's still on that Android. Yeah.
Okay. I'm always curious. How come my results are always left out from the tweets? Like, I never get any recognition.
I think you're next on this, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I also loaded this one up myself.
Yeah, this is C. Davis. He's been with us for a bit. This is just obviously a showdown. Pretty nice team here.
And then this one was mine here, but I guess you can't really see it, but a lot of GPP here. I think I had like a lot of Steph Curry as well, so I think it could have done better. Other thing I did was I think I had a player group of I had four Raptors, 4 or 5 Raptors in a player group, and then I set a minimum of at least 3. I just wanted to stuff in like a lot of Boucher, and yeah, Boucher delivers, man. Like, he gets 7 blocks a game, 6 blocks a game, like it's nothing. Like, if he can get 30 minutes plus, like at that 7K price tag, I like it. Like, it's a risk, but I love it at GPP, especially on that Draftkings price yesterday.
Yep.
So other than that, I think we have another one here from Nick. What do you make of this one, Chris?
Nick's obviously a DK guy. He absolutely crushed this weekend. I saw a winning screenshot from him for every slate, so you always love to see that.
Yep. And then here we have T-Pro.
T-Pro, obviously. Eagles fan. Obviously, Doug Peterson was fired today. Not sure how T-Pro feels about that. We'll have to get his thoughts on that if he tunes in. But yeah, this is pretty nice. Pretty nice screenshot here. Nice ROI.
Yeah, I mean, you can play max entry 150 in the piggy bank, and it's still a lot of fun. Like, there's good upside there. Like, it's a good one to practice for sure. Like, I like it. I still play it.
Yep.
Then we have this here as well.
Yeah, so this is just a mixture of a few people. Obviously, I'm up top here with the early only slate. Nick is here with the showdown Bears versus Saints game. And then obviously Weaver, new member. Really like Weaver. Just a solid guy. He knows, like, he seems eager to learn. He's doing well, so that's nice to see. He says plug in 150, build, cash. It's that easy. Yeah, so I mean, that's always cool to hear.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Weaver. He's very active. Like, he always gives us like tips, like what he sees, any issues that he finds, like all that stuff. We always fix it up. So definitely a good active member. So shout out to him. I'm gonna call you out, Chris. My screenshot didn't make it here. I had to load it up myself because I knew it wasn't here. But yeah, I mean, we got to get that fixed, I think.
I mean, maybe you need to get on the iPhone. Your screenshots, they're usually not very visually appealing, so that's probably why.
Okay. What else is there? Oh yeah, Boucher. I don't know if you guys know this, but I think he used to be homeless. Like, he was a homeless guy for a while, and then he got into the G League, worked his way up there. Now he's a NBA player.
We probably shouldn't spend too much time on Chris Boucher. I mean, he's not on the slate today, but yeah, he was homeless in Quebec, in the slums of Quebec. So
yeah,
I mean, French boy there, I think. But yeah, let's get into these tournaments from yesterday, and then let's dive into this slate today. We have 7 games to talk about.
All right, first up, Draftkings.
Hasty says Boucher wasn't homeless, just couch surfing. Trigger says #start Boucher. Yeah, I think they should start him. He got into foul trouble yesterday, so if he didn't get into foul trouble, he probably could have got 50, maybe more. Brandon says, wow, no iPhone. I look down on people that don't have iMessage. Kind of ironic, like, Brandon, he had an iPhone 6 like until a few weeks ago, so pretty old phone there. I don't want to phone shame, but he had the iPhone 6. Now he's phone shaming the Android users. So, I mean, it's not something you love to hear. Kibaka says, hey, what's up, Q? Q's always been with us, solid member as well.
Shout out to
Love to see when he posts in the Success channel. He always seems to have a takedown every few weeks.
Yeah.
Justin said Toronto Raptors play tonight. That's true. I forgot about that when I said it. We'll talk about him when we get to that game, I guess.
I think that's just a reflection of how irrelevant Chris sees the Raptors and Boucher. So I don't like to hear it, but yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, let's jump into this tournament here. First place has Boucher in it. I love to see it. Like, I was considering locking just Boucher, not doing that Raptors group, and just letting the optimizer run, but I ended up going with the Raptors group. My highest, I got to 344. First one, what do you see here, Chris?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to just like go through each play just because obviously in hindsight they performed really well, but he had pretty chalky players in Keldon, SGA, KD obviously. Al Horford, our projections were really high on, so that's nice to see he got to 38. Randall, 25%, put up a 45 burger. He's always consistent this season. Boucher, obviously 9%, 43. That's really big. And then Rubio as well, 28 at 3.8%. I think he was 4.8K. So, I mean, pretty solid construction here. He didn't deviate too much from high-owned guys, but he got the two low-owned guys that did really well in Rubio and Boucher.
Yep. I think that's it for that. Do you want to do double up or just go to the DK tournament?
No, just the DK.
Which one? The fadeaway or Mega 8s?
Yeah, the $15 entry fee. We don't want to look at the 1K entry. Yeah, so this is the DK. I mean, shout out to Ryan. He was calling Hamidou Diallo out. I forgot he was playing in New York again. Obviously, he's from Harlem. He always seems to crush when he plays in New York. Maybe he should sign for one of those two teams. But yeah, he crushed against the Knicks the day before, and then yesterday, obviously, put up 43 fantasy points at 10%. So that's nice. John Wall, 40 burger, 6.5%. Didn't have the flame, but still low ownership here. I don't think too many point guards gave you raw points yesterday, so that's why John Wall probably found himself in the winning team here. Oubre, 20%. Don't really love that play. He was probably a last piece in this lineup. And then this guy had KD. Obviously, he was a lock. Aldridge and Walker. They were solid plays. Actually, on Draftkings, I said Lonnie Walker was my value play of the day yesterday. So it's nice to see him get 40 fantasy points there at 4.6K. I like that a lot. And then Draymond, obviously, near triple-double. Siakam obviously performed well as well. So, yeah, pretty nice team here.
Yeah, I love seeing the Raptors guy in the winning lineups always, so good to see. Okay, let's jump right into the slate. Diallo loves that home cooking from Hasty. Uptown stand-up. Okay.
Brandon says iPhone 1 greater than Droid. Is that true?
Nah, that's not true. I mean, people love to hate on Android, but, like, they've never had an Android. I mean, like, the thing with Android, like, the range varies so much. Like, you can get one for, like, $100. You can't get an iPhone for $100. But you can also get an Android that's, like, $1,500, $2,000. Like, you can match the cost of the iPhone. It's a nice phone. Anyway, first game we have Phoenix at Washington. Let's see the injuries here. On the Phoenix side, we have Jalen Smith out for them. Cameron Payne doubtful. Starters, we have Chris Paul, Booker, Bridges, Crowder, DeAndre Ayton. What do you think of Phoenix today, Chris?
So, I mean, every time I mention Phoenix, I always say that we don't want to target them just because they're fairly priced and all that. But we got a really good matchup here against the Wizards. It's the highest over-under on the slate at 230.5. So I do like the Suns here today. Implied team total of 119. So that's a pretty good number. One of the highest on the slate. So I have interest in the Suns today, even in cash games. I guess I can start on Fanduel. Someone like Chris Paul, he's 6.9K. Just in this plus matchup against the Wizards, he could really get you there today. Someone else, Devin Booker. Like, we know Devin Booker has a ceiling as well. Hasn't flashed it too often so far this year, just because it seems like he hasn't been as aggressive. But if he gets like 37 minutes in this matchup against the Wizards, I don't hate that either. These guys are probably more more cash plays for me, just because they seem to have a pretty safe floor in this matchup. Probably don't have too high of a ceiling just because they're all out there together, as I always mention. But I really like them in cash games. Probably more in play on FanDuel. I'm fine with 8 and 2 if you want to go there, but I probably won't have too much DeAndre Ayton. So my main guy is Chris Paul in cash games on FanDuel. I like that a lot. Devin Booker if you want to play him at the shooting guard position in FanDuel as well. Don't mind that. On DraftKings, the guy that stands out to me is Cam Johnson. He's looked pretty good so far this year. He had a few good games in a row. He played 29 minutes last time out, so that was a season high. Played 27 the game before, so it's definitely been trending upwards. He's been hovering around like the 25 to 28 fantasy point range, so I don't mind him as a last piece in DraftKings. Like, he's pretty easy to get, 4.2k, really good matchup. So he's a cash play for me. He's cash viable on DraftKings.
Okay, let's jump into Washington here. News over there: Beal in, Westbrook out for them. Starters right now we have Neto, Beal, Danny Avdija, Rui Hachimura, and Lopez. I think last time we had the Thomas Bryant injury. I'm not sure how long he's supposed to miss. Do you know, Chris?
He got the ACL injury, so he's out for the year.
Okay, that sucks. Is all the pricing adjusted to account for that, or is there any pricing advantages we have here?
I mean, definitely no one here in cash like for the bigs, but someone I really like on the Wizards in tournaments is Moritz Wagner. I don't know how to pronounce it. But yeah, he always seems to have some upside. Like last year, every time he got the start, he seemed to crush for us. He's only 3.6 on DraftKings. Definitely don't mind that in tournaments. 4K on FanDuel. Don't mind that in tournaments either. Everyone's going to play Joel Embiid, so if you play Wagner, you can definitely use that as leverage over the field. You'll get different construction. So I like him in tournaments today. Bradley Beal, obviously. Westbrook is out, as you said, so Beal is in a smash spot here. He's a little expensive. I'm not sure if I really need it or want it in my cash games. More in play for me over on FanDuel at 10.1. Just seems to fit that shooting guard position a little more. I think the spend up at shooting guard isn't too obvious today. I think we're obviously playing Maxey alongside whoever we play at shooting guard, but I don't mind Beal there at shooting guard. I talked about Booker on the Suns. Don't mind him either. So if you want to use him in cash games, I don't mind that. If you want to play Beal in tournaments, I think that's also viable. Obviously, Beal has a ton of scoring upside, so he can get you 40, 50 real-life points, put up like 70 fantasy points for you. So I like Beal in tournaments. I don't mind him in cash games. More of a last piece for me if I'm trying to spend up at shooting guard. And then one other guy I'll mention, actually two other guys I'll mention. I'll start with Rui Hachimura. A really good play looking like on FanDuel. He's 4.9K. Last time he got into foul trouble, obviously Beal wasn't playing. This time Beal's back, but he got into foul trouble last game. Still put up 18 shots, so you do love to see that. Only 4.9K at a pretty thin small forward position on FanDuel, so I do like that price tag for Rui Hachimura in cash games. Probably not in tournaments just because Beal is back. Maybe limits his upside a little bit, but definitely like that price tag. And then one last guy I'll mention here on the Wizards is Denny, 4.3K. If you want to play him in cash games on DK, I don't mind that as a last piece. If you're picking between him and Cam Johnson, I would go Cam Johnson, but he's there if you want to go there for only 100 more in cash games.
Yep. In the YouTube chat, we have please tell how to bias the player pool feature. I'm not too sure how to use the player pool feature, but I'm not sure what you mean by like which feature are you wondering about. If you can clarify, we can go over that. Hasty saying Beal is going to eat again, and then the pronunciation Wagner. Mo Wagner.
Yeah, it's spelled with the W. I thought it was Wagner as well. Yeah, but I like him in tournaments. Please tell us how to bias. How? Yeah, I don't know what that one means either, Gary.
Okay, we got thanks for the shout out though. So true class. Sounds like Hasty. Only question tonight is to Maxey or no Maxey. I think it is to Maxey, right?
Yeah, I love Maxi in both sites, both formats. Ton of minutes, great matchup. So I love Maxi tonight.
Rui gonna have a solid season this year, super solid. Hasty. Okay, next up we have the Bucks against the Magic. In this game, injuries on Milwaukee. We have Torrey Craig out, Giannis in for them. Starters we have Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. Any interest in the Bucks today, Chris?
So before I talk about the Bucks, I just we gotta be thankful Thomas isn't here because I mentioned Rui Hachimura. We never want Thomas here when Rui Hachimura is mentioned. But yeah, with this Bucks team, Ryan says, "What's the spread?" So it's a 10-point. The Bucks are favored by 10 right now. Over under of 226. So the Bucks have an implied team total of 118. It's pretty high tonight, but I don't see anyone here that I want to target in my cash games. These guys are all tournament only for me. Giannis is obviously back after missing one game with the back injury, so that hurts Middleton, that hurts Drew. So I don't love the Bucks here. Tournament only for me. Like, you'll get Giannis under-owned. He's probably the only guy I really have tournament interest in here today.
Yep. I just got confirmation about the question. I can't see the name, though, whoever's writing that out. Do you see the name, Chris?
No, that's anonymous.
Anonymous chat, wow. Should I go over it now, quickly? The player group feature?
What did he say? The feature that Garry used last night with the Raptors, was that group setting, and how is that used / accomplished?
I'll go over it quickly. It's just in the sidebar here. You create as many player groups as you want, or none. And then pretty much, like, I don't know, if you like these Buck guys here, you would just put them in, like, I don't know, Giannis, Middleton, Lopez, who else?
Drew.
Yeah, Drew. And then what you could do is you can just, like, it'll use the players that you selected here, and then you can see the slider here. Right now it's set to use at least, like, every lineup will have at least 0, and at most, I believe that's 10 of these players, any of these players, whichever ones project higher. So what I did last night for the Raptors is I put, like, some Raptors that I liked here, and then I think I set it to, like, at least have 3 of these Raptors in this group, and then at most 10. You can obviously limit that. Like, if you don't want more than 3, but you want at least 3, like, you can make it 3-3. So, like, I mean, I can't drag on this browser for some reason, but you can definitely limit that to 3-3, or you can make that 2-4, whatever you want. Another way Chris likes to use it is, like, to account for, like, negative correlation. So you can sometimes set groups to, like I don't know, like, one that you like to do is AD and LeBron. Quite often you say only have one of them.
Here, with the same thing here, you could just use these Bucks as an example. Like, you obviously don't think that all 4 of these guys will get there. So I would set the group to, like, 0 to 1. So that means you'll get a maximum of 1 of these guys in every lineup. You'll never have 2 of them. So that's the way I like to do it. I mean, if you like the Bucks here, you can set it from 2 to 4. So that means every lineup will have a minimum of 2 of these guys. So yeah, you can do it both ways. Yeah, John says, "What's up, fellas? Love the show." Thank you. What's up, man?
It's nice to hear, actually. What is this? Legoto ball? Legoto?
LiAngelo? No, I'm kidding. LaMelo. We'll talk about him. I think it's the next game or in 2 games. But yeah, LaMelo he's been performing really well.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I did the injuries news for the Bucks starters. Did you go over the Bucks yet?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do Orlando. Injuries there: Evan Fournier, Alfred Caminu, Michael Carter-Williams, and James Ennis out for them. Starters, we have Cole Anthony, Bacon, Aaron Gordon, Clark, Vucevic. Gordon off the minutes restriction. What do you think of the Magic, Chris?
So the Magic, they're interesting here. Definitely have interest in them in cash games. Like I always say, when we have teams that are, like, injury riddled, we do have interest in players from them. There's still some cheap guys here that we'll like in cash games. So I'll go through them. I guess I'll start with cash games. So I think Cole Anthony, specific on Fanduel, is a really solid cash game point guard. 4.5K, so his price was reduced a little bit. We had the weird report about his minutes. He played 28 his first start and then played 32 his last start, so no concerns there. So I like him a lot in cash games. 4.5K just really stands out, really lets you fit in some studs elsewhere. He's probably the main cash guy on Fanduel for me. Another guy is Terrence Ross. He's 5.4K. Like I said earlier, shooting guard it's going to be Maxi and then some other shooting guard. I think you can use Ross as that second shooting guard for 5.4 on Fanduel. Just a solid price. Fournier's obviously out, so he's probably going to shoot at least 15 times, play at least 32 minutes. He can get you 2 or 3 blocks and steals. So, I mean, he's pretty scoring reliant, but I still like him in the spot here. Another guy I'll mention, more of a DK play, but also viable on Fanduel, is Aaron Gordon. He's 6'6" on Fanduel, 6'7" on DK. He's off the minutes restriction now, so he should be performing better. I wouldn't look at his game log. I mean, it hasn't been too bad, but I think there's definitely some upside here with Aaron Gordon. Really like him in tournaments as well. Just because most people will see the game log, they'll see that he's been in the 30s. They probably won't think that he has upside, but I think he has some upside here, especially if the Magic can keep it close, which I think they can. Yeah, those are the main guys, and then Vooch, obviously always viable for me in tournaments, in cash games as well, but I think we want to go up to Embiid today, so no interest for me in cash games on Vucevic, but I like him in tournaments as a pivot off of Embiid.
Yeah, confirmation, the anonymous user is not anonymous anymore. It's actually Weaver. Turn and Burn is actually in the chat. Shout out to Turn and Burn. Welcome.
Yeah, John Michael Turner Jr.
The GPP GOAT. Showdown GOAT. Trigger loves the AG call. Aaron Gordon. Hasty saying Milwaukee feels that paint tough to score inside on them.
Yeah, I mean, I still like them. I think they'll definitely be able to not get blown out.
Okay. Jump into the next game. There's still a few to go through.
Oh, and just one last thing with Terrence Ross. Milwaukee always seems to, like as Ryan said, they fill the paint, so they always seem to be okay with giving up 3-pointers. That's another reason I really like Terrence Ross today, just because he gets most of his points from the perimeter. Milwaukee sort of funnels other teams to shoot threes, kind of opposite from the rest of the league, but we've always known that with the Bucks, so another reason to like Terrence Ross today.
Yep. Okay. Next up, we have Cleveland against Memphis. Over there on the Memphis side, we have Conchar out, Tilly out, Porter out for them, Winslow out, and then Jackson Jr. also out for them. Starters, we have Tyus Jones, Brooks, Anderson, Clark, and Joval. Any interest in Memphis, Chris?
I have no interest here. Lowest team total on the slate. Lowest over-under on the slate at 206. Tight spread, 2.5 favoring Memphis. So, I mean, it's not bad, but it's... I mean, I wouldn't say it's not bad. I think it's pretty bad. So I have no interest here in anyone, especially in cash games. Like, if you want to take a shot on someone like Joval, Brandon Clark in tournaments, fine. But I don't know. I have no interest in this team.
All right. Let's go over Cleveland. Injuries there, we have Kevin Porter, Garland, Windler out for them. Sexton questionable, Matthew Dellavedova still out for them. Starters, we have Sexton, Okoro, Chetty Osman, Nance, and Drummond. Nance, not Nance, Osman always a hot topic here. I guess we could start with Chetty first. What do you think of Chetty, Chris?
So Fanduel moved him to power forward, so not small forward anymore. He's 5.1K there. I don't mind him as a last piece. He looked awful last game. He looked disengaged. I'm glad I got off of him. He was like 50% in cash games, so glad I got off of him. He absolutely sucked, so shout out to Trigger for that. But I don't hate him here at 5.1K. Power forward is a little bit thin on the like mid-range end, so don't mind him. If you want to use that as a last piece in cash, probably wouldn't do it in tournaments. But the main guy on this team is Andre Drummond. That price tag at 9.2 on Draftkings really stands out. You can fit him with Embiid, so he's a lock for me on Draftkings in cash games. Don't mind him in tournaments either. And then on Fanduel, I don't have interest in Drummond in cash games, but in tournaments you can use him as a pivot off of Embiid. I don't hate that.
Yep. Weaver is saying Chetty owes us a game. And Hasty saying Okoro over Chetty today.
Okoro, I don't know. Okoro's just one of those guys who just goes out there to get exercise. He played 33 minutes last game, put up 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. So it's something you hate to see as a DFS player.
Yep. Okay, let me load up the next game. We have the Knicks against the Hornets. Give me a second. Okay. Knicks side, we have Frank Ntilikina, Alec Burks, Taj Gibson, Obi Toppin, and Reggie Bullock all up for them. Starters, we have Peyton Barrett, Knox, Randall, and Robinson. Any interest in the Knicks, Chris?
So the Knicks are always they're always in these slow-paced games, low Vegas totals. But the thing with them is they play a ton of minutes. So my main target here is Julius Randle. He's looked really good this season. He has the ball in his hands a lot. He's playing a ton of minutes. 9.6 on DK. I don't mind that if you want to spend up for him, but I think he fits more on Fanduel. 9.4K. Power forward is kind of thin, like I mentioned. So yeah, I like that price tag a lot in cash games on both sites. I'm good with it. And then in tournaments, I do think he has upside for 60, so don't mind him there either. Alfred Payton on Fanduel. He's a tournament play for me. 5.5K. I'd rather spend 1K less and go to Cole Anthony in my cash games, or spend 1,000 more, go to Chris Paul in my cash games. So no interest in him in my cash games. Yeah, just main guy here is Randall. Don't really need to touch on anyone else.
Yeah. Okay. We can go over the Hornets. Before we do that, we have Thomas Bay back in the chat. Missed the first half hour. His first question: do you like Denny Avdia in cash Fanduel?
No, I have no interest. Like, we have Danny Green, who we'll talk about later. That team is depleted. I really like Danny Green for 4.8. As hard as it is for me to say, I hate that guy, but he looks good today for 4.8. Hachimura 4.9. Definitely rather go there than Denny. And then Cam Reddish is 4.5. We'll talk about him as well. I really like that price tag. So no interest in Denny for me in cash games today.
Okay. I think we're getting a few projection updates, so we might have some slowdown in the tool for a bit. That's something we'll fix soon. Hornets side, starters, no new news there. Starters, we have Graham, Rozier, Hayward, Washington, and Bismack Biyombo. Thomas obviously is going to ask about Hayward if you like him. So I guess we can just start there, so you can just answer that before he asks it. What do you think of Hayward, and then any interest in any of the other Hornets today?
Probably not. Like, these guys are tournament only for me. Hayward's had some big games, so he's priced up to 8K on both sites, or around 8K. Graham, I don't mind him as a last piece in cash games if you want to do it, but I just think we have better plays elsewhere. We have guys on the Sixers who we want to jam in, and then if we jam in those cheap Sixers, we get to spend up. There's not really any spend ups on this Hornets team. I guess one guy I'll mention for tournaments is PJ Washington. He's looked really good in the past 3 games. He's got like 5 or 6 steals plus blocks in those games, so he's been putting up some good output. And then obviously LaMelo Ball, always a good play in tournaments. Probably wouldn't play him in cash games just because, as I mentioned, we have Chris Paul, we have Cole Anthony, who I'd rather go to. So I don't see the need to pay up at LaMelo Ball in my cash games. But I like him a lot in tournaments. But yeah, that's pretty much it, honestly.
Okay. Brandon's asking Reddish, Daniel, Green lock for cash.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like Hachimura though over Reddish, 400 more. But yeah, those are solid combos. That's a solid combo right there.
Yeah, and then Thomas, he's saying Hornets need to trade Graham ASAP, saying it's an effed up organization. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I like Devontae Graham. I think they should try to move on from Rozier, but he has that big contract, so I don't know.
Okay. Let me load up the next game here. Philadelphia at Atlanta. Trigger saying tomorrow's slate looking crazy. Probably the COVID stuff, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Philadelphia, I think like everyone is out there. Instead of listing that, do you just want to go over who's in, Chris, for Philadelphia?
Yeah, I'll go over it. They have, I think they have 8 guys playing today. I don't know if Mike Scott is back. That's the only one I don't know about. So if he's back, they have 9 guys, but still really condensed rotation here. You'll get big minutes from their main guys, who we'll mention. So they have Embiid playing, obviously, Maxey, Danny Green, Isaiah Joe, Dakota Mathias, Paul Reed, Mike Scott, maybe Dwight Howard, and then Tony Bradley. So Dwight Howard and Tony Bradley, they're backups for Embiid. I don't think they'll ever share the court with Embiid. So that's kind of why we're targeting the guards here, the wings. They're really thin at those positions. So I mean, these guys are going to pop out a lot in cash games. In tournaments, they're going to be high owned. So I don't know. You could use them as leverage. I wouldn't do that. I would just play them. I guess I can go site by site. So on FanDuel, my favorite play is Embiid. Obviously, he's the main guy here. Really good matchup against the Hawks. So I like Embiid a lot in my cash games. Love him in tournaments too. 9-7. Just he should be shooting the ball like every possession, just because they don't have anyone else really. So Embiid's a lock for me. Tyrese Maxey next up. He's a lock as well. Should see at least 42 minutes. Main ball handler. Just feeding Embiid, so should get some assists, get some open looks. Love Maxey today on FanDuel in both formats. And then Danny Green is the last guy I'll mention on the Sixers for FanDuel. He's 4.8K, just too cheap. He's going to shoot the ball a lot, just get those corner threes. He shot 17 times last time out, went 4 for 17, so that was really bad. But he still put up 28 fantasy points with 2 steals and 1 block, so that's nice to see. 4.8K really stands out. As much as I hate playing Danny Green, I'll definitely have him in my lineup today on FanDuel. And then for Draftkings, this is where we get a ton of these guys. I probably have at least 5 of them in my lineup. So we'll start with Embiid. He's a lock as well here, both formats. 9.8K, just a super solid play. Sorry. And then Maxey as well, 4.7. Just awful pricing there. He should be probably at least 6.5K in this spot. Danny Green, 4.7K, so just way too cheap as well. Obviously, he benefits from the 3-point bonus on DK, so that's a really good play for me in both formats. And then the two additional guys here that I didn't have in FanDuel are probably a combination of Dakota Mathias, Isaiah Joe, Mike Scott. 2 of those 3 guys probably. We'll have to see who they start. Last time they started Dakota Mathias, they started Isaiah Joe, so I do like them. Dakota Mathias, he's 3.9K. He's a 3-point shooter, so that's nice on DK. He played 41 minutes last game, so super high. Took 13 shots. He's pretty reliant on scoring in my eyes, but I think with those minutes, definitely a really good cash play. Don't see too much upside, so maybe I would steer away in tournaments, but really like him in cash games. Same as Isaiah Joe, 4.1K. He played 45 minutes last game. Obviously, the only guy they're adding today is Embiid. Maybe Scott. Not sure about that, but still should see at least 40 minutes in my eyes. Really good play in cash games. Probably a fade for me in tournaments, just like Mathias. Don't really see a ceiling with Isaiah Joe, but I think he gives you a solid floor with his minutes. So I like him a lot in cash games on DK.
Yep. Okay. Brandon's saying, before we jump into the other side here, Brandon's saying it's impossible to look at a slate a few hours before in 2021, let alone a day before. What do you make of that, Chris?
Yeah, it's true.
It's true?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's why we do the show, though. Makes it a bit easier. That's why we have the optimizer. Makes it a bit easier.
I think he was talking about. It wasn't really a question towards us. He was just talking to Trigger, who said tomorrow's slate is looking crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that, though. I think Weaver said, yeah, Mike Scott is back. I saw he is back. You said you weren't sure about that, Chris. Trigger also says he likes Trae Young as a run back today. Thomas says, Deadeye, don't sleep on him. Hasty's also saying Danny Green is going to get big minutes tonight. Embiid will get foul trouble due to shitty rotations on defense. What do you think of that? Foul trouble for Embiid?
Definitely no foul trouble concerns here against the Hawks. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. The only problem with Embiid is if he gets hurt. Obviously, knock on wood, but like I have no issues with him as long as he doesn't get hurt. He should definitely smash.
Okay.
And then
let's do Atlanta.
as for Trae Young, we'll go over the Hawks here, so I'll mention him.
Yeah, let's do Atlanta. Rondo Okongwu out for them. Fernando probable. Danilo Gallinari out for them. Young, Herder, and Snell all probable starters. We have Young, Reddish, Hunter, Collins, and Capella. Let's get into the Hawks, Chris. What do you think here?
So the Hawks here, not really anyone I have interest in for cash games today, but in tournaments, these guys are really good plays. Trae Young, as I think Trigga said, as a run back, I really like that. He's going to go under-owned, so super solid tournament play in my eyes. If this game stays close and shoots out, Trae Young will have a big part of that, so I do like him. He's had a bad couple of 2 games, as you see there. So that might decrease his ownership a little bit, but I still like him a lot here in this spot. You get a little bit of a price reduction, so that's nice. 9.4 on DK, I think 8.8 on Fanduel, so I like that in tournaments. Probably not in cash games. Maybe as a last piece, if you're spending up, you can do it, but I don't think I need it today. John Collins, Clint Capella, probably no interest in them. I would set a player group where I only have a maximum of one of them in a lineup just because I don't think they can both hit a ceiling in the same game. Their wings, like Bogdanovich is out today. He got hurt in the second quarter last game. I think he messed up his knee pretty bad, so I think he's going to be out for a while, but I like their wings here. Basically, we're going to look at who's priced the best. In my eyes, the only guy that's really cash viable and only on Fanduel is Cam Reddish. He's 4.5K. He should start. He absolutely smashed last time out. He got 38 fantasy points, 33 minutes. So I really like Cam Reddish as a player, as a DFS player too, just because he takes a lot of shots. He's pretty active on defense. He can get you 3 or 4 steals. So I like Cam Reddish. And then in tournaments, you can play Hunter, you can play Herder, just because they're more expensive. I don't have much interest in them. But yeah, the main guy in cash games here is Cam Reddish on Fanduel.
Okay, I missed Weaver's last question because of the no name. I thought it was like part of the previous message, but he's asking, are the Sixers a team that you'll use the group setting on?
I think more so on Draftkings, just because on Draftkings, the guys that pop out are guys who don't have much of a ceiling. Like I mentioned, Dakota Mathias, Isaiah Joe. I would probably set a group for those 2 on DK and only have a maximum of one of the 2 in each lineup. But in cash, like I'm playing both of them. I would play 5 Sixers in cash games on DK. And then on Fanduel, I don't think you need to set a group just because the main guys that are popping are Maxey, Danny Green, and Joel Embiid. I really like all of them today. Maxey, absolute lock for me. Embiid, lock for me. Danny Green, like he's maybe someone I would limit my exposure to in tournaments, but he's in a really good spot. You can't argue that. So I don't know. I wouldn't do it on Fanduel. I know Weaver's a Fanduel player.
Yep. Other questions. Big on Hunter and Herder from Hasty. No Bogdanovich. I think you kind of touched on that.
So like I said, it depends on the salaries. Reddish is the cheapest, so he's 4.5K. That's where all my interest lies with those wing guys. In tournaments, you can obviously go to Hunter or Herder. They'll be lower owned, so yeah.
Okay, I think we're getting some projection updates. So the tool is a little unresponsive for a few seconds. I'm gonna have to stall, Chris.
No, that's not true. This game was postponed.
Oh, that's not true. Good call. Yeah, good. We don't have any of the players in there. That's nice. My bad. Okay. Next game then we have Indiana Sacramento. Hasty's also saying Reddish a steal, much better defender this year. I think I remember Hasty. He always liked Reddish.
I don't think so. I don't think Reddish is a player he would like. Like he's a chucker. I don't think he really likes the chuckers. So yeah. Doesn't shoot it very well.
Okay. Next up, Indiana Sacramento. Over there, let me just load up the starters. Give me one sec. Indiana side. How do you say this guy's name, Chris? Goga? I'll just say
you
Goga.
gotta stop saying it. Like we don't need it. We don't need to know that. You say it every time.
I know. I'll just get it down by myself next
You
time.
you can go to Basketball Reference. They have all the pronunciations with the stuff, so it's easy to read if you want to learn.
Okay, I'll do my homework there on Basketball Reference for name pronunciations. Indiana, just TJ McConnell, only notable injury. I see starters. We have Brogdon, Holiday, Victor Oladipo, Sabonis, and Turner. Any interest in the Pacers today, Chris?
Yeah, so the one guy here that's a lock for me is Domantas Sabonis. Like, he's absolutely been crushing it. He's like Jokic of the East, but we're getting him for $2,000 less. So he's a lock for me on both sites. If Embiid wasn't on this slate, I would have Sabonis as the cover of the thumbnail. He's 9.3 on DK. I think he's 9.2. Yeah, 9.2 on Fanduel. So just I love Sabonis today. Really good matchup against the Kings. The Kings are awful. Implied total of 117, so that's really high. So everything looks good for Sabonis today. Brogdon, someone I'm fine with. No TJ McConnell, like you said, so that helps him a bit. More of a Fanduel play for me. He's 8.4K, so we're spending up a little, but his minutes have been really high recently, so that's looking good. I think he's more of a cash play, but I don't mind him in tournaments either. He's flashed upside in the past couple of games. Easy matchup, so I'm good with Brogdon. Oladipo at 7K. I don't mind that as the last piece in Fanduel cash. Just like I said, shooting guard 2 is sort of a toss-up between guys like Beal, Terrence Ross, Devin Booker, Oladipo. So I don't mind it if you want to play him in cash games on Fanduel. Probably no interest on Draftkings in cash games. He's 6'9", but I don't know. We don't need it with the Sixers value that we have there. And then another guy over on Draftkings is Miles Turner. He's 6.2K. His game log has looked good. He's been blocking a ton of shots, been playing pretty good minutes. So he's always been a pretty good points per minute guy. So I don't mind him on DK if you want to go there in cash games. Don't mind him on FanDuel if you want to go there in tournaments. Definitely wouldn't play him in cash on FanDuel. But I think he could have some upside just because he has obviously a ton of blocks every game.
Yep. Some questions, comments. Let's see what we have here. Hasty says he doesn't like Duke boys. And then Trigger's also wondering if Fox is on a minutes limit. Do you know that, Chris?
I don't think he's on a limit anymore. He was on a limit against the Raptors. They got blown out, so he played a little less. And then the next game against Portland, they also got blown out, so he only played 25. I don't think he's going to be on a strict limit, so I'm good with Fox, but he's tournament only for me regardless.
Okay. Hasty's also saying Sabonis is going to smash best deal of the day. Kings like an all-you-can-eat buffet.
That's true. That's facts.
Yeah. Okay, Sacramento side, Buddy and Holmes, both questionable for them right now. Starters projected, we have Fox, Heald, Barnes, Bagley, and Holmes. Do you think Rashawn Holmes is playing, and Buddy?
They're questionable, so we'll have to wait and see. But regardless, I have no interest here in my cash games. These guys are tournament only for me. If they do miss the game, like Hassan Whiteside will be bumped up. He played 23 minutes last game when Holmes was out, so I don't hate that in tournaments. If Buddy Hield misses, I'll bump up Halliburton a little bit. Guys like Harrison Barnes, but they're priced up, so not too much interest. The main guy is probably Halliburton, 5.4K. I don't mind that in FanDuel cash, just because I said the second shooting guard is kind of thin, so don't hate that. Fox, you can go there in tournaments, 7.3K, so you're paying a little less for him. There's some you get some downside, like if he's still on that minutes limit, like Trigger said. I don't know yet, but that price tag stands out in tournaments for me on FanDuel. Yeah, that pretty much does it. Like, we just have to wait and see on the news for Heald and Holmes.
Okay. Definitely something we'll update in our Discord as we hear about it. So if you're a member, you'll get that there as well. Last game, Toronto, Portland. I'm always interested in the Toronto game, so I'm going to look at this one first after the show. Go over the starters for Portland first, save the best for last. We have Lillard, McCollum, Jones Jr., Covington, and Nurkic. Any interest in the Blazers today against the Raps?
So they have the second highest over under. This game it's at 230. Obviously, the Washington game is higher at 231. But this one's a pretty solid game here. We got a 5-point spread favoring the Blazers. So I don't know. Like, there's no one here that's injured, so there's not much value. Not anyone that stands out for me in cash games. They're more tournament plays for me. Obviously, Dame always has a ceiling. He's been in a couple of blowouts the last 2 games, so that's why his minutes have been down. But I do like Dame in tournaments. Same thing for CJ. If you want to play him in tournaments, don't mind that. I would set a group where you only play a maximum of one of the 2 for tournaments. Nurkic, he's looked good in the past couple of games. Price tag is still 6'4" on Fanduel. Definitely don't hate that if you need him at center, but I'd rather just spend up for Embiid. 6'6" on DK is also fair for Nurkic, but tournament only for me, really. Rocco, if you want to play him at power forward as a last piece, I don't hate that, but I think we have better plays that we talked about. These guys are just mostly tournament plays for me.
Okay. Questions, comments on the last game from Hasty. Holiday Bros in Indiana are nice. No? What do you think, Chris?
Well, we can just pull up Aaron Holiday's game log. We can see if he's nice. I think this game log will be a pretty good indicator on that. So he's been starting these games. He's put up 3.7 Fanduel points, 11.5, 5.4, 6.9. Like, it's just something we don't need. We want to target the main guys from here, like Brogdon, Sabonis, Depot, Turner. So I have no interest in the Holiday Bros.
Why do you think Hasty thinks they're nice? When you see this game log, does it fit the mold?
As real life players, I like them. I like Aaron Holiday a lot. But just with Oladipo playing, there's not really a role that's carved out for Holiday to shine.
Hasty says, "Oh my God, sorry boys," and he says they play D. Trigger says Boucher, 100%. Henry saying Hamidou Diallo is a beast. I told y'all. Yeah, we had who did we have saying Diallo was a beast yesterday? I think Henry and Hasty.
Right? Yeah, the 2 H's. Yeah, so I mentioned him at the start of the show when we were going over the screenshots, but yeah, obviously that was a good play. Always seems to smash when he plays in New York, so definitely got to keep that in mind next season when he goes back.
Yeah, we got to do like a adopt a player program over here at DFS Crunch. Like everyone adopts like a player that they really like or like a team that they really love, and then you get like some good insights if you really follow a team. Clement's asking Chris, how do I put in 1,500 and get 3,000 back? What contests do you play? I don't know how to answer that one. That's kind of.
I play a ton of contests. There. I play single entry. I play cash contests, but I mean it's definitely tough. Like if you're just expecting to do that every day, then I mean everyone would do it if they could. So like there's definitely a lot of thought process that goes into the contest selection, like stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of hard to answer.
Yeah, it's a big question. Lots of layers to it. Big one, like number one, risk management. Like you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. If that's like you got to get your bankroll up, and you don't want to play more than 5 to 10% of that. So definitely don't go all in. Like we would never recommend that. Don't ever do that. That's not a good idea here. That's not what we're about. But yeah, it's more about just like Chris said, like finding the right contests, managing your bankroll, having solid projections, and then having like a strategy that you execute day in day out, and then just like trusting your process. Like don't look back at things in like hindsight and be like, oh, I should have played this guy. Like when you make your choices, they're the right choices for a reason, so you got to stick with them. Trust your process. I think that's it. Slow and steady wins the race. Yep. Okay, Toronto, best for last right here. We have starters: Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam. When are they going to start Boucher, Chris?
I don't think they start him today. They're going up against Nurkic. Usually they start someone bigger. I wouldn't be surprised to see Baines get the start here. Yesterday they started Powell, so they moved OG to the 5. Maybe they'll do that again, put OG on Nurkic, but I don't think they start Boucher here. He's really handsy. That's the problem with him. If he starts, he'll get into quick foul trouble. Dame is really good at getting bigs into foul trouble on his drives, so that doesn't help him. I honestly like him better off of the bench. So, yeah, like he's 7-2 on FanDuel. I don't have much interest there, but 6K on DraftKings stands out for me in tournaments. Obviously, as you always say, he has super high block upside. He crushes point per minute, so you have that going for you, but just he's a little too expensive on FanDuel, and then on DraftKings, really good tournament play. Anyone else here? So Pascal Siakam, he's looked really good the last couple of games. Yesterday he had like a turnaround spin fadeaway with 1 foot in from the 3-point line as the game winner. It rimmed out, so that wasn't too nice, but just in general, he's been playing pretty well. Been playing big minutes as well, so that's nice to see. I don't mind him as a last piece in cash games. Tournaments, I'm fine with him as well. Fred VanVleet and Lowry, same sort of thing. Tournament only for me, but if you're playing them, I'd probably set a group where you only play a maximum of one of them in each lineup. But yeah, like these guys are mostly tournament plays for me. Norm Powell, if he starts again, maybe you can use him as a last piece in cash, but I just think we have better value with the Sixers, some of the Wizards. So not really too much interest in the Raps here in cash games.
Yeah, Siakam, silky smooth, best spin move in the game for sure. Casey's saying Baines will start. He thinks Baines is going to start. What do you think of that, Chris?
Yeah, that's what I said. I said Baines will probably get the start here. Thomas said Dotson, LaMelo, Peyton for cash. I have no interest in any of those guys. Maybe LaMelo 7-4 on FanDuel. I don't mind that, but I would go down to 6-9 to Chris Paul instead.
Yep.
And then if you're spending down, like I mentioned before, I would just spend down 1K less from Peyton and go down to Cole Anthony. He should see 32 minutes.
Yeah, nice price tag on Cole Anthony for sure. Julius Randle on DraftKings from Henry.
Yeah. I mentioned him. I think he's 9.5K. He's probably tournament only for me on DK, just because we have Drummond at the center slot as well. We have Sabonis at power forward for 9.3. I'd rather play Sabonis over Randle. Like I said, Drummond 9.2, and then obviously Embiid is one of our locks. So it's kind of hard to fit him in. But yeah, I like him a lot in tournaments. I'll say that.
Yeah, just saw Austin Rivers is starting today with Bullock out.
Probably doesn't change too much. You can play him in tournaments, but not a cash game play for me. Weaver says Portland is a Sive on D. Target Toronto. Yeah, I mean, the problem with that is we don't have great salaries on them. They're pretty healthy, so that's why I'm not targeting them in cash games, but they are really good tournament options today.
Yep.
Like, they would be a team where I would add their main guys like Lowry, VanVleet, Siakam, even Boucher, OG, make that a player group, and then set the slider from 2 to 5. So you'll get at least 2 of them in every lineup. I don't hate that in tournaments.
Yeah, I love that in tournaments. That sounds great to me. Okay, before we go into the core plays of the day, we'll also do Q&A more now. So if you guys have questions about construction, about the optimizer, about our tool, anything like that, we can answer that as well. And before we do that, be sure to like the video if you haven't already. That helps us out a lot with people finding our content. Also, be sure to subscribe, hit the bell button, hit all so you stay notified for all of our free YouTube content. It's always going to be free. It's always 2.5 hours before main slate, and it's some really solid DFS content each and every day. Do you want to say anything about that content, Chris? You kind of hyped it up well last time.
Yeah, I mean, it helps us a lot. It helps us keep this show going. Completely free, as you said. We go through the slate every day. We don't miss a day. Even the holidays, we're there 2.5 hours before lock. We build out teams. We give out our favorite picks of the day. So we go through lineups. So everything here has some good value, even if you can't afford a subscription to the actual site.
Yep. And yeah, one last thing before the core plays. One more plug for our tool, our projections. That's at dfscrunch.com. You get access to what you're seeing us use throughout the show. You'll also get access to our Discord. Lots of stuff here. There's a 3-day free trial, 25 a week, 75 a month. Lots of value, lots of sports. Draftkings, Fanduel, great place to grow your bankroll. I don't know, just to hang out if you love DFS. So good place to be. Definitely check it out. Try it out if you have not. Best tool in the game is triggering hasty say now. So yeah. What do you do a core for cash games? Yeah, we'll go over the core now. Let's start with Fanduel. Who's your first?
Yeah, I think he's asking what the core is for. The core is for cash games. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after we go through the core, we go through my favorite play of the day, my favorite tournament play of the day, my favorite value play of the day, and my favorite fade of the day. So you got a bunch of stuff.
Yep. Fournier out today. Neto starting. Confirmations. Yep. Okay. Who's your first core play of the day, Chris, on Fanduel?
So since we have a ton of value today, we're going to have a ton of core plays. We can start with... Let's start with Tyrese Maxey. I mentioned him. Absolute lock. Should see at least 40 minutes against the Hawks here. 5.2K. Just no need to fade that. Next up, Danny Green. Same sort of thing. Should get a ton of minutes here. 4.9K, I believe, on DK. So, I mean, on FanDuel. 4.8K, sorry. So, yeah, that's a really good play for me. Next up, Domantas Sabonis. Really like him at power forward. 9.2K. Should absolutely feast against this Kings front court. So yeah, I like that a lot. And then obviously we have Joel Embiid. Really easy lock there at center. Usually don't love locking in a center, but he's gonna get all the shots here, all the usage against the bad Hawks team. Not a bad team, but a bad defensive team. They play fast, so really good matchup here for Embiid. As long as he doesn't get hurt. As I said earlier, he should smash, should probably get at least 55 for us.
Yep. Is that it for your core place here? 4 guys?
Yep.
Okay, let's hit build 20. Building. Okay. What do you see here?
We can just save these first 4 teams and then move on to, or just the top 3 and then move on to the saved lineups. Yeah, okay, so we have Chris Paul on every team. He's a borderline lock. So I really like him in cash games today against Washington. Cole Anthony, same sort of thing, 4.5K, really cheap. And then this third team, it has Trae Young. So you, instead of spending up for a Randall in this third team, you go down to Chetty. Don't mind that. Obviously, we'll go over the 3v3 later, or 4v4, whatever it is. Shooting guard, Terrence Ross in the first and third team, 5.4K. Bunch of guys out for them. Milwaukee funnels shots to the three-point line, so I do like Terrence Ross a lot. The second team has Brad Beal. Obviously, Brad Beal is in a smash spot without Westbrook, so I like that a lot as well. Let's see, Tyrese Maxey, obviously a lock. Cam Reddish in the second team at small forward, and then Hachimura in the first and third. They're both really good plays, so I don't really have a lean. Just whoever fits. I project Hachimura a little more than Reddish, so if I have the extra 400, I'll go there. And then Danny Green, obviously a lock. Sabonis is a lock at power forward, so we have Randall in the first, Chetty in the second two. Chetty is 5'1". Don't mind that as the last piece. We'll talk about the 3v3 or whatever it is in a bit, and then Embiid, obviously a lock as well. So, do you have the differences here, or you had them?
So we have between the first.
We have Chris Paul. I guess we can compare the first two to start with. We have Terrence Ross, Hachimura, and Randall versus Beal, Reddish, and Osman. I think it's pretty obviously the first side. Like, you get Ross in this really good spot with a bunch of guys out. You get Hachimura, 4.9K, should shoot at least 15 times. As long as he's out of foul trouble, should play at least 32 minutes. And then you get Randall at 9'4", who's been crushing all year, plays a ton of minutes. So definitely like this first side more than the second. If we compare the first and the third here, we have Chris Paul. I think it's Chris Paul and Randall versus Trae Young and Osman.
Chris Paul's in all three.
Oh, Cole Anthony and Randall, sorry, against Trae Young and Osman. I still think here it's obviously the first side. Cole Anthony is underpriced here, 4.5K. Should get some good 3-point looks against the Bucks. Just too cheap. And then Randall, really like Randall for the minutes upside. Trae Young has been bad, so like I don't love it in cash games. I don't mind it as the last piece, but I definitely lean this first side here.
Okay. Brent in the chat saying, thanks guys, this is really great stuff here. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Hasty saying Embiid too slow to get up and down. I feel like Hasty doesn't like Embiid. Would you consider fading due to high ownership? What would that give you?
Yeah, so like it's a really good fade here. Like in tournaments, like he might even be my fade of the day. Like it'll give you different construction. Yeah, let's try excluding him in building. We'll probably get guys like, I don't even know, honestly. Maybe Miles Turner, Drummond. We'll get some, but yeah, definitely a really good, really solid thought process for tournaments. But I'm mainly a cash guy, as you know, so that's why I'm just jamming Embiid and just let it roll. But let's see what we get here. Okay, so we're getting Ayton, we're getting Nurkic, we're getting Capella. So
yeah, Ayton, Drummond, Vooch, Nurk, Capella. Favorite obviously Ayton here, then Drummond, and then
yeah, like these guys aren't bad plays, but just Embiid is in a much better spot for me in cash games. That's the main reason, but it's a really good tournament idea.
Yeah, definitely lower ownership guys here as always. I mean, like center's always that one position on Fanduel. That one position on Fanduel where you always say it, I always say it. Like you can only have one center, so that's always like an easy way to kind of differentiate yourself from the field and get some leverage just from making one adjustment there. But obviously, like if Embiid is in like a really good smash spot, it might be hard to fade him today. But
I remember one time in the bubble, I think Simmons was out, Embiid was in a really good spot. He kind of tweaked his ankle in the first quarter, and then they just precautionarily sat him out for the rest of the game. Like that's really the only way that I don't see him getting there. He's probably going to be like 40 to 50% in tournaments. So, I mean, I don't hate the fade, but as long as he can stay healthy, which should happen, like he should crush here.
Yeah. Hasty says, cool, thanks, boys. Billy Kid saying Turner way too risky. What do you think of that?
Yeah, he's risky. He's really reliant on his blocks and steals. So, I mean, I love him in tournaments, but definitely not a cash play for me.
Okay. Let's jump into Draftkings. Let's go over your first lock of the day. Who is it on Draftkings, Chris?
So first we have Tyrese Maxey. He's even cheaper on DK, so really easy play there. 4.7K. That's an easy lock for me.
Almost 8x value.
Next up, let's go with Dakota Mathias. We expect him to start. We expect him to play probably at least 36 minutes. 3.9K against the Hawks. Really cheap. I love that in cash games. And just remember, this is a cash game core, so don't love Mathias in tournaments, but love him in cash games on DK. Next up, let's go with Isaiah Joe. He's 4.1K. Should see at least 36 minutes as well against the Hawks, so I love that. Danny Green, 4.7K, cheaper than Fanduel. Easy play in cash. Yeah. And then obviously Joel Embiid is the fifth Sixer here. He's 9.8K. You just plug and play these guys. They're thin. They're in a really good spot against the Hawks. So they all make my cash core. And then next up, we'll obviously add Domantas Sabonis. I was talking about him. Yeah, like he's 9.3K against the Kings who don't play any defense. Just really easy play there as well.
Only 2 slots left.
Yeah, that's compliant with DK right there.
All the changes, so
we can just save the first two and compare them. I think it's a really easy build. I mentioned it earlier when I was talking about the Wizards. This 1v1 is just Cam Johnson versus Avdia or Denny Avdia. I think it's clearly Cam Johnson here going up against the Wizards. Better matchup for him. He's more aggressive. He takes more shots. He's more active on defense. So yeah, pretty clearly Cam Johnson here for me. And then you get Drummond in this lineup. He's the only guy that isn't a lock. But I really like that price tag for him.
Yep. Yeah, pretty straightforward on DraftKings, I guess, with all the Sixers guys in here. It's tough not to, like, if you decide not to get them in cash, it's kind of tough. They're such safe plays today, I think. All right, do you want to go through your favorite plays then?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, who's your favorite lock of the day? Number one lock of the day.
So usually this is a guy that I'm good with in both formats. Yesterday we had KD, obviously. Today it's Embiid, just 9.7K on Fanduel. That price tag really works. 9.8 on DK. He's also my lock of the day there. Like usually this guy is the obvious play. You actually have him excluded, Gary, if you want to undo that just for your lineups that you'll build later. Yeah, so Embiid on both sites is my lock of the day.
Okay, who is your let's go value play of the day on Fanduel first.
On Fanduel, my value play of the day, it's got to be Tyrese Maxey. Like, I mean, I don't need to get cute here. He's going to play at least 40 minutes. They don't have many guards, so he should have the ball in his hands a lot when it's not in Embiid's hands. He should initiate the offense. So I like Maxey as my value play on both sides. So yeah, 2 for 2 on both sides.
Okay, what was the next one we have? Who's your tournament play of the day on Fanduel?
Tournament play of the day. So this is a little bit tougher. We kind of want this guy to usually have some leverage over some of the popular plays. I'll go with Trae Young. He's 8.8K on Fanduel. It's a good bring back spot, like Trigga mentioned earlier, against the chalky Sixers. So I like Trae Young a lot in tournaments.
Okay, on Fanduel, and then who is it on DraftKings?
On DraftKings, let's go with Malcolm Brogdon. He might be a little bit popular, but obviously TJ McConnell is out. He's been playing a ton of minutes. The matchup is really good here against the Kings. So yeah, I like Brogdon at 8.3 as my tournament play of the day on DK.
Okay, last but not least, fade of the day, Fanduel. Who is it?
So just a disclaimer: the fade of the day here is it's
GPP.
for tournaments only. I'll have the fade of the day in my cash lineup 9 times out of 10. So let's go with Danny Green, just because I'm not a big Danny Green guy. 4.8K. You can play guys like Reddish, Hachimura, even Cam Johnson at the small forward position instead. So he's my fade in GPPs on Fanduel.
Okay, fade of the day, DraftKings. Go.
So on DraftKings, I mentioned my fades, or I mentioned these two guys before. It's Dakota Mathias and Isaiah Joe. I don't think that they have much opportunity to get to a ceiling game here. I really like them in cash games just because they have a really solid floor. That's why they're locks in cash games. But in GPPs, I'm good with fading them. They should have some ownership there in tournaments as well, so you get some leverage over the field who's just plugging in like the top 150 teams. So yeah, I like fading them, those two guys.
Okay, I think
on
that
DraftKings.
wraps that segment up. Any last questions? If you guys have those, we can go over them. Tate Moore's asking, what do you think about Danny Green? You like him in cash, right?
Yeah, so if you guys ask these questions, it helps if you say the site you're playing on and the format. But with Danny Green, I like him a lot on both sites. He's a lock for me in my cash games on both sites. In tournaments, I don't mind him either. So he's just underpriced against a good matchup here. So that's good. Billy says Maxey is chalk. Do you have any other value plays? Well, my thing with value plays is it's usually guys who are cheap that are going to get there probably 9 out of 10 times. So I don't mind having them chalky. If you want someone less chalky, I'm not sure if it's DraftKings or Fanduel. If it's DK, maybe someone like Cam Johnson, 4.2K. That's good value right there. And then on Fanduel, Cole Anthony, 4.5K. I like that price tag as well.
Yeah, Tate follow-up questions for Fanduel. Do you like Peyton?
Don't love Peyton today. I would rather, I think I've said this a few times, I would rather spend 1K less, go down to Cole Anthony for 4.5, or spend 1,400 more, go up to Chris Paul at 6.9K.
Yeah. Hasty says he likes Trey, solid value pick today. I'm not sure which Trey. Like Trey Young?
It's got to be Trey Young.
Yeah.
We got to get the spelling check there. I mean, Hasty's a teacher. Spelling first names wrong.
Yeah.
Definitely not a good feeling if you're the kid who the teacher can't pronounce his name or spell his name. So yeah, we got to get on Hasty for that.
Yeah, if you're a parent and you get Hasty, if Hasty is your kid's sub teacher, like, I don't know, the spelling's going to be questionable. He's a free square on Fanduel.
Yeah, he's talking about Maxi. Yeah, so I mean, you can play Cole Anthony, like I said, 4.5k. You can play Hachimura, Reddish, Danny Green. They're all solid value plays there on FanDuel.
Okay. I think that's it. One more plug. I guess we'll do it again. Be sure to like the video before you guys leave today. Helps us a lot with other people finding our content. Also, if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe, hit the bell button, hit all so you stay notified every time we go live for this free DFS content every single day. Never miss a day, 2.5 hours before the main slate. Other than that, follow us on Twitter as well. That's a good place to follow us, DFS Crunch.
I just want to say one thing. So once we reach 100 subscribers on our YouTube, we're going to give away a free monthly pass. Maybe we can give away 2 or 3, but yeah, we're doing that once we reach 100 subs on YouTube. I think we're around 40 away, so hit the sub button and then yeah, you'll have a chance at that.
Yep. Other thing, if you guys like the optimizer and you want to just try it without waiting for that giveaway, there's a 3-day free trial if you've never used us before, so get on that. That's not going to be here for that much longer, the 3-day free trial. You get access to everything you saw today. Also our Discord community, which you don't see on the show. In the Discord, we just bring up news as the slate comes up. We release updated cores, answer questions, all that stuff. So a good place to be. 25 a week, 75 a month. Also a yearly package as well. Better value there if you're in here for the long haul. Lots of sports, as Chris said earlier. NHL starting back up. MMA starting up again. Esports, college football, lots of stuff here. So definitely check it out. Great value. Yeah, I think that's everything then. Anything else? Any closing remarks, closing words from you, Chris?
No, I mean, hopefully we crush this slate. Hopefully we still have NBA after tonight, but I think it might be one of the last nights. We also have the big college game tonight. We got our projections up for that. So if you're into college football, we got OSU against Alabama today. I'm hoping Ohio State wins, but I think Alabama will pull through. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching that game.
Yep. Yeah, thanks everyone tuning in. Hope to see you all tomorrow. If there's basketball, hope there is. Fingers crossed. Good luck today. We'll see you in the Discord answering any questions.
Wait, one sec. Drew says any other power forward options on FanDuel, Sabonis, lock, and go with Clark. So I like Randall along with Sabonis. I don't mind spending down also at power forward, but I think my main target is Randall paired with Sabonis. Don't mind Clark either, as you said. Don't mind spending down for Chetty. But yeah, Clark is fine as the second power forward. Aaron Gordon as well. But yeah, I'm trying to get Randall there.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the Discord answering more questions, updating the core as that comes out. Good luck today, and see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.